So Healum's a digital health company that provides connected software and systems, enabling healthcare professionals to collaborate with patients who've got long-term conditions and chronic illnesses. Our focus has been to try and solve the problem for patient and clinician of providing more self-care support when the patient is outside the clinical environment. And our software enables those healthcare professionals to create a connected plan of care and support, personalized for each patient, so they get the right kind of education, services, and behavioral motivation through all the little nudges and goals and prompts that we've built into the software. For patients, it gives them the ability to conduct their own healthcare orchestra so that they can choose the kind of help and support they want for the goals that matter to them. We first found out about the NIHR when we were deciding how we should execute our strategy to generate evidence to show that our proposition generated value for patients and for clinicians. At the very start, at that point, we did not know where to go to be able to generate research as a small business. So we did what you'd expect someone to do. We typed into Google, how do I deliver a study within the NHS? We initially approached the NIHR to gain some help as to how we should put together our study. So what should the protocol look like? And we just wanted to get some advice. So at first we used the early feedback service, really easy to follow. We came up with the first version of a protocol, like a kind of skeleton framework, and then we put it to the NIHR, and they then circulated that amongst some clinical experts. We got some initial feedback so we could refine it and make it so that our protocol was ready for the NHS. The NIHR's site identification service was perhaps the highlight of how we've worked with the NIHR so far. We worked really hard to put this protocol together, and then the moment they then sent it round to the list of research ready sites was a huge aha moment for us. Within 2 days, 117 research ready practices had come back and signed the expression of interest, and we were high-fiving. We were like, this is amazing. Like, going from a place of how are we going to run this research project, how are we going to possibly identify across 6,000 odd GP practices who to work with, we had not only some great sites but really in-depth information around who those sites were and how we could work with them. So that was great for us. The tools that we accessed in the study setup service were the costings template and the model contracts. These were two of the most useful tools for when you're trying to get started to deliver a research protocol. I would advise everyone, if you don't want the hassle of having to try and negotiate the pricing with each site, and if you don't want the hassle of trying to come up with nuanced contracts and pay through the nose with lawyers, use the NIHR's costing templates and model contracts. But it's really exciting now that we've finally selected the 10 sites that are going to be part of the study. Those sites will be recruiting between 5 to 10 patients each. We're looking at doing a control small pilot where we can compare some patients that have type 2 diabetes who are using the mobile app versus those that are not using the mobile app. The study itself, we hope, will last for around 9 months, meaning that in a year from now, we should end up with some initial evidence that shows the effectiveness of how our apps and connected software have helped clinicians to save times, but more importantly, help people who've got type 2 diabetes to better manage their care. I would advise any company who's looking at bringing a MedTech study to the UK to connect with the NIHR and to actually really understand how to work with the clinical research networks. There's very few countries around the world where you've got the infrastructure just set up and ready to go. So if you're coming from the US or India or anywhere else and you're looking at the UK market, I would say that this is a market that's ready and open to actually support a really good comprehensive study, and you'll be surprised at how much help and support you get.